Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Xbox Casuals, the Xbox podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is the best Xbox exclusive, Josh Finney.
It's a short list.
It's not very long.
It's getting longer, though. We will say that.
Yeah. Well, look, they just announced for like the second quarter in a row that they were the biggest publisher on PlayStation.
So funny to me.
Oh, man.
And it's only gonna get worse.
This is typical though, like console war, right? Like Xbox games suck until they come to the console that I prefer, and then they're amazing.
Oh yeah. That's and I'm sure that there's some diehard Xbox fans out there, Nintendo fans, that would say the same thing if like Ghost of Tsushima came to their console.
Yeah. So, it was wild. I turned on my PlayStation yesterday actually, because like I rewired some things and was trying to clean up the wire management when the Switch 2 comes out.
Yeah.
And dude, it was wild going into the PlayStation store to claim my free games, and the 3 games they were advertising were Forza Horizon 5, Indiana Jones, and Oblivion.
Yeah, it's just
in the PlayStation store. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is wild. Man, that's all I gotta say, man. It was wild.
It's been kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Corey, speaking of crazy things, we got to start with some not as great news.
What, the Xbox handheld has handles on it?
No, although I'm not sure if that's great either. This is old news by now. This came out last week, but we got to talk about it anyways. All consoles and accessories are getting a price hike worldwide.
Yep.
For the sake of time, we're just going to talk about this as it pertains to the US, but specifically talking for the prices of the consoles, the Series S 512 gigs is going to go from $300 to $380. The 1 terabyte Series S will go from $350 to $430. The Series X digital is going from $450 to $550. The Series X with the disk drive is going from $500 to $600, and the 2 terabyte is going from $600 to $730.
It's wild, man.
This is the only way you could ever convince me the PS5 Pro is not overpriced. Is show me the price of that 2 terabyte Series X. This is nasty work. This is nasty. Yeah. It gets worse. The core wireless controllers are going up to $70. Ones with color they're going up to $65. Ones with colors are going up to $70. Special edition controllers will be $80. Limited edition will be $90. I assume that means like the Doom controller in the future would be $90.
Mm-hmm.
The Elite Series 2 core is going up $10 from $140 to $150, and the full is going from $180 to $200. So we've talked a lot the last several months about real world consequences to your favorite hobbies. And we talked about how pricing has affected PC builds and how it's affected the Switch 2. It's now come for Xbox. And the implication was given that, yes, they're raising prices worldwide, but that is primarily to offset what they would otherwise have to do in the US. Otherwise, like, Xbox would just completely die in the States. Let's be honest.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to be silly and think this isn't coming for Sony, it is coming for Sony. Sony, being the market leader, has a hell of a lot more consoles stateside right now. Let's be honest. Sony, from what I heard earlier this year, Sony was trying to ship enough consoles in to get them to the holidays. And then they would deal with it from there. The good news is Sony doesn't really have much of anything between now and Ghost of Yotei. They have Death Stranding 2, which, I'll be honest, I don't know if people are running out for a PS5 for Death Stranding 2. I think that's going to be a really big game, but I feel like that's more of like an auteur game and not like a Last of Us or Ghost of Tsushima or even like Helldivers type game.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's really going to move consoles. There's an awesome Astrobot bundle out, though. If you do not have a PS5, I highly encourage you to get the Astrobot bundle. Be able to play Ghost of Yotei and Death Stranding 2 when they come out.
I wonder how well Death Stranding 1 sold. I mean, I know it sold
very well.
But I mean,
Last I checked, it was like 15 million worldwide.
Jeez.
And a lot of that came from PC.
Yeah.
A lot of that was on PC and like the re-releases and things like that. So,
Right, it did get that. It did get that director's cut edition, which Kojima was apparently not happy with the term director's cut on the box. But
no, he was not.
wow.
It has sold. Okay, so I was wrong. As of July 2021, the game has sold 5 million copies worldwide for PS4 and PC. By April 2025, Death Stranding had reached over 20 million players worldwide. Should be noted, it has been on Game Pass PC for a hot minute, and it has also been part of PS Plus for years and years at this point. Pretty much since the minute the director's cut came out. So I don't know what the exact numbers are. I would say somewhere between 5 to 10 million, which, I mean, still really good for such a strange game.
Yeah.
I think it's that kind of shows like, hey, name recognition. But going back to the Xbox of it all, this is rough. There's really no defense for raising the price. We have harped on Sony for doing this in the past. We're going to return fire here on Xbox. It's asinine to raise your prices after the console has already hit the market.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is ludicrous. I understand why it's happening, but the timing of it could not have been any worse.
I mean, I guess like aside from like the tariff situation, like even if prices of these components were like staying stagnant, you know, because like theoretically technology gets cheaper as it ages,
Yes.
right? Like,
yes,
which is why up until this point, Nintendo's consoles have been relatively
affordable
compared to everything else. But like,
sure.
You would think it would just stay the same until the console generation was over, and then they would overcharge for the next one. At this point, we're 6 years in.
So that's sort of what I thought. But man, Microsoft does all their console manufacturing in China. China has a 150% tariff on them right now. That is like, I don't know if you'll understand. That means that even dirt cheap things are now like something that would normally be like, I think Temu is a great example of this. Somebody said like an order from Temu that they would normally pay like $10 for shipping and all is costing them like $60 now.
Jeez.
To give you an idea of how asinine this is getting really quickly. So now imagine that with something that's worth a couple $100. There's the shipping fees to bring it over and everything else. Like it's absolutely asinine. It's insane. I would say like, I think this is the clearest indicator that there's not a new console that's coming out for at least 18 months. Cause I think if it was just within the next year, they would, I'd not necessarily cut their losses, but they would be like, okay, we can weather this storm for now.
Yeah.
And just worry about getting the new shit over here. Like maybe, you know, see if we can get a factory to start assembling these in like Mexico or, you know, Vietnam, move to Vietnam like the Switch has.
Right.
But that's pretty clearly not happening. And so that's why I say for anybody who thinks that this isn't going to affect Sony, Sony has raised prices worldwide in pretty much every region except the States.
Yes.
But the States are their biggest, or is everybody's biggest market by far.
Right. They also don't do all their production in China though. And they've shipped, you know, supposedly shipped millions of units here already to anticipate this tariff.
Yeah, so Sony has been looking into making some of their stuff. I know that their base consoles are still made in China. A lot of the accessories are not, though.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Microsoft, a lot of their consoles are made there. I believe most of their accessories are made there or in Mexico. And then if you're wondering why are physical games getting more expensive, those are usually produced in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of it right there. Mexico doesn't have as big of a tariff slapped on it, but still has like 20%.
Right. A lot of physical games, though, are manufactured and pressed in Indiana, though, too.
There's more and more. I know that Xbox specifically makes theirs in Mexico.
Right. Yeah, that's why they have such a huge fan base and why you know, XO is down there. You know.
Yep. So. Yeah, they have big fan bases. I would actually say it's probably Microsoft's second biggest fan base is Latin and South America.
Yeah.
We know Brazil has a really big Xbox community, despite it being, again, ludicrously expensive. So I do wonder how they navigate this. They did also confirm in the same press release some games will be going up to $80, which that's code word for Call of Duty will be $80.
Yeah. I mean, what else is even coming out this
That's what I was saying. Like, what are you gonna do? Charge $80 for Outer Worlds 2?
Yeah.
God.
What if it's
But
worth
this comes out the day after they reported another 6% drop in hardware sold.
Yeah,
But they were
I don't know how they could not like that number. I don't know how
I
you
thought
could
it was really
be
silly
lower.
though that some people like who definitely know the business better than we do were like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you'd announced it like right when you did." Like, yeah, it's a bad time, but there's no good time to announce this. Let's be totally real.
Right.
Them coming out and supporting the $80 game though was the bigger gaffe to me. Like the hardware, okay, fine. If people do a little bit of research and reading, like, yeah, you can still be pissed off about it, and you should be. Raising the price on a 5-year-old console is ludicrous. But it's the $80 games because that's a price that like once you broach that, it's not going back down.
Right.
Like it's just not. And
I
the fact
also
that you now have EA saying they will not go up to $80 yet is telling.
Yeah. I also wonder if that's like, hey, we're going to raise it to $80, so hopefully you'll pay for Game Pass so we can gain more subscriptions because it's cheaper.
Well, that's almost certainly what they're trying to do here. But if you think Game Pass is not getting a raise this year, I think you might get through this holiday season without it
I would
going up.
say before the next the fiscal year is over, so maybe like February or March, depending on what's coming out around then.
I think that the next time you see a price increase is going to be in the months leading up to Gears E-Day.
Yeah.
Because by that point, we're going to be on the march to whatever the new console is.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be within like that 14 to 16 month window of the next console.
Right.
And next year, so I mean, presumably next year is E-Day, Perfect Dark, Clockwork Revolution, State of Decay 3, barring a surprise announcement of it coming out this year, which I wouldn't count out. And of course, Fable.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way they're not going to raise that price next year.
No,
those are expensive ass games. I would bet a Forza Horizon 6 is on the way with it's going to be the launch game for whatever next console they put out.
Mm-hmm.
Even though 5 is still going, Forza Horizon 5 in just a couple weeks on Sony's platform has now hit over 1 million sales,
which is crazy, dude,
for a 4-year-old game. Which is, I mean, it's still probably the best racing game of its generation. Honestly, it's certainly the best Forza's ever been, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, and
so
PlayStation doesn't really have anything like that, right? What are you going to play? The Crew?
Right. And I think that's where, like we talk about like, oh, people go crazy for these games. Like, yeah, Forza was like one of the last remaining, like, I'm going to buy an Xbox just to play this game.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's coming to like, and hey, we've always said that like we support what Phil says. Like when we all get to play, we all win. They definitely care less and less about hardware because hardware, they have to eat the cost on so much. And we're seeing that right now, right?
Yeah.
They're having to eat the cost so much that like for Microsoft, it's not worth it. Like Xbox is basically a write-off for them.
Yeah.
But when you have to pay the increased costs on the manufacturing, it becomes less good because then that's eating into the margins. They're like, oh yeah, you might make a shitload of money from Call of Duty and Forza and, Indiana Jones might sell really well and Doom is going to sell really well. That's all going to be evaporated if you have to pay for these ridiculous importing costs.
Mm-hmm.
So, he tried this back in like 2018, 2019, something like that. And all three console manufacturers basically wrote to the White House and like pleaded to be left out of it. And they were. You're not going to see any sort of mercy this time.
Nope.
So, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Like, at this point, honestly, I would say buy a used one. If you need to buy a console, I would advise buy a new one from your local mom and pop shop. Don't go to GameStop. Go to your local mom and pop shop. Support them. A lot of those stores are going to go out of business in the next year. A lot.
Yeah, it's a shame.
I was in my local comic shop for Free Comic Book Day, and I was like, man, I wonder if this place is going to be here next year. Genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's an older family-run place that's been there for like 40 years, and I just don't know if it's going to be there.
Yeah, it's not great.
It's not. It's not. It's really, really bad. So I say all that to say these price increases suck. Everybody is going to feel them. It's making an already expensive hobby almost unattainable. Like, one of the things we could always hang our hats on was, man, consoles are expensive, but the Series S at $300 was a bargain. I at 380, I still think 380 is a little silly. At that point, like, yeah, you might as well spend the extra $70 and get a Switch 2, I think. You might as well get the portable one.
Yeah.
But man, if you care about like being able to play things like Fortnite and Minecraft and Roblox and all that, a Series S is still going to get it done. You care about being able to play Game Pass? Series S is still going to get it done. And at 380, I still think 380 is fine. If you are not caring about power or like 120 frames, Series S is still totally fine. But it really hurts to see a console that was marked down to like 240, 250 this past holiday season be hiked up.
Yeah.
That being said, this is the MSRP. Retailers are free to put whatever price they want on it. We are in the late cycle of the consoles. We are about past the 60, 65% mark. That's when they go on sale all the time. I don't expect a sale in the coming months. I do expect them as we get into the holiday season, though. I do think that retailers are going to understand, hey, our profits are falling. We got to get people in the stores by any means necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So, we can mark down the 512 Series S to like 250. Great. People will think it's a bargain again. You know, because the Switch 2 is not going to go down in price, obviously. It's going to go up, if anything.
Yeah.
Like, Sony and Microsoft can do it on like their lesser units, quote unquote. Like, even if it's just their digital only consoles, you can put those on sale.
Right.
So you're not subsidizing a disk drive at that point or anything. So I am curious for what that's going to be like. I don't love the argument. Well, at this point, you might as well just buy a Steam Deck or build a PC. Man, not everyone wants to build a PC. I'm going to be totally honest. Building a good PC right now is still because then you got to get monitors that can run your shit and everything. Like, that's an investment.
Yeah.
That's still a lot. I'm not going to lie. So, like, yeah, me paying $450 for a Switch 2, I don't love it. But, and I hate the argument of, well, you can get a Steam Deck for that price. Like, yeah, but that's not the point.
Right.
I'm buying a Switch because I want to play, Nintendo
Cyberpunk.
games. God. But, like, at least with Xbox games, I will say, like, you don't have to buy an Xbox at this point. I do think, like, this tariff situation is going to lead to them going, hey, we're going to do more day and date releases. I really do think you're going to see that. The selling point of an Xbox console going into next generation is going to be you can play the games either day one, or you can play them early and not have to wait, 3 to 6 months, or you have Game Pass and you can play them right away.
Mm-hmm.
And which, if my Xbox becomes a Game Pass machine, I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah. I mean, mine kind of already is, except for like Destiny and
I prefer to play my third-party games there just because I like the controller better.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do too. So. I do too, but like, I mean, most of my gaming is done in handheld mode on Switch right now because of just life situations. So,
yeah, I might be investing in this ROG Ally 2 this fall. Project Kennen might be investing in it.
You like the handles? You need something to grab onto while you're.
Those handles are a little juicy.
They've got it's a little thick. It's a little thick, boy, Josh.
So yeah, I just last kind of thought going into next generation, $700, man. $700 is probably going to be the standard going into next gen, especially if that Xbox handheld is like really as powerful as they're trying to make it.
Right.
I have a hard time believing the next Steam Deck won't be, $600-700 out of the box.
I mean, the ROG Ally X is what, 800. So
yeah.
Right. So I mean,
I expect it to just keep going, unfortunately. So we're in for some hurt. I did see a comment that said this is the only generation where buying day one was actually a good investment.
So. Yeah. I mean, I imagine the Switch 2 will go up in price at some point too, right?
It'll get through the first holiday season. They can't afford the optics of raising the price
especially before the first Kart thing.
Yeah, after the Mario Kart debacle, you can't afford to raise that price before Christmas. That being said, I expect a price hike by this time next year on the Switch 2. Even if it's just $50, I expect it.
Right.
Or maybe you just keep the Mario Kart bundle permanent. I know they said it's limited edition. I would just keep that permanent.
Oh, it'll be permanent. So was the holiday bundle for
That's true.
One, okay,
That's true. So, I do think that something like that. I think you're going to see a return to bundling games or like PS Plus or Expansion Pass or Game Pass in with the consoles. If you're going to charge that much, I do think that you should be willing to sacrifice a couple months of subscription so that people can at least enjoy something on it. Honestly, at this point, kind of surprised Xbox isn't just pre-installing Minecraft. Really surprised at this point.
Yeah. The new
like that is a $20 game. It feels like that is a layup opportunity for you.
Yeah. Man, Minecraft.
I have somebody on a Reddit thread was saying 2 years ago, holiday 2023, you could get a Series S for $150. Last year, people were paying $350 for a new Series X with Diablo 4. So,
yeah, and I mean, I imagine those types of things will keep happening, right? Just to get, like you said, get people in the store and keep people coming out for holiday shopping. But like,
yeah. When I think about $80 games, I think it's so funny that 3 of the best reviewed games of the year and 2 of the best selling have been $50 or less.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that's Clair Obscur, Expedition 33, which I'm really excited to talk about in our What We've Been Playing at the end of the show. Blueprints, and of course, Split Fiction. All 3 of those. So when we talk about bargain-priced games, though, Corey, we have another one coming out this year. A beloved remake. We're going to shift into some good news for Xbox, finally.
All right. Good news, Josh says.
A beloved remake, remaster, I don't know what to call these anymore, of Gears of War 1. Gears Ultimate Edition is coming, and it's coming to Xbox, PC, and the PS5.
PlayStation debut for Gears Reloaded, as they called it, I think, right?
I have zero problems with this. I don't give a shit.
Dude, Gears of War is a 20-year-old game. Come on.
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, listen, Gears Reloaded coming out August 26, 2025 for $40 on Series XS, PC, cloud gaming, PS5, and Steam. Of course, it's coming day one to Game Pass. It supports Play Anywhere. And anyone who owned the digital version of Gears Ultimate before this announcement will get upgraded for free. That is an awesome gesture as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. They did not have to do this. I'm actually a little surprised it's Microsoft doing this. They would not... Well, I wouldn't expect any of the big 3 to do it, frankly. I would have expected Microsoft to at least be like, hey, give us $10.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't really understand what they're upgrading, though, except just to have a new SKU out there for Xbox, because, like, I'm pretty sure it runs at 60 frames a second on the Series X anyway. I guess. I
mean, just judging from the image they gave us, when I look at... No, it did not run at 60 frames. It ran at 30 frames.
Even with the frame rate boost?
Yep. 30 frames. 1080, 30 frames. This is going to be 4K 60. And multiplayer will run at 120.
Cool. I can't wait to play Gridlock again with only shotguns.
I will say, like, the lighting looks ridiculous on this from the screenshots that we got. I'm a big fan. I think this looks great. This is developed by the Coalition in partnership with Sumo Digital and Disbelief. That's pretty cool to me. Immediate access to all post-launch DLC at no additional cost, including the bonus campaign act, all multiplayer maps, modes, and a full roster of characters and cosmetics unlocked through progression. You do not have to sign in with a Microsoft account. That is not required for cross-platform or anything, but signing up, or cross-platform play, I guess I should say, with your friends. Signing in with a Microsoft account, however, will give you cross-platform functionality with cross-progression. So campaign and multiplayer carries across multiple devices and will allow you to send invites and play with friends, which is really cool.
Did they say which engine this is being run in? Is it still 4?
It doesn't say.
I would be interested to see if they tried to move it up to 5 or not.
No, it doesn't say here. Full list of specs: 4K resolution, 60 frames, campaign, 120 in multiplayer. HDR, Dolby Atmos and spatial audio sound, variable refresh rate, 4K assets and remastered textures, improved shadows and reflections, super resolution with improved anti-aliasing, and zero loading screens during the campaign.
I mean, that's impressive.
That actually is. So, yeah, sounds cool to me.
Man,
and if you bought this before the announcement, again, you get that free upgrade.
This image of it has like the original Gears and then Gears Ultimate and then Reloaded, like all stacked on top of each other.
That's the one I was looking at. Yeah,
wild.
It's crazy. I love it.
Wild.
I'm
excited. So I'll play through the campaign again.
I'll take any excuse to play it. This is probably the clearest confirmation we have that E-Day will come to PS5 at some point. I don't know if it'll be day one, but it'll be there soon.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be there.
I actually kind of like the idea of them not doing it day one, because that keeps, for like franchises like that, it keeps the discussion firmly on, hey, Xbox made this.
Yeah.
But also it keeps it in the conversation. Like, look at what we're having with Indiana Jones. It's never really left the conversation since it came out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, certain game, like we said before, certain games will be staggered and certain games will be day and date, I assume. So, oh man, what do we got next here, Josh?
Jez Corden had some information coming out of the Xbox 2 podcast about some new controller prototypes.
What? Is it a boomerang?
Not the boomerang. Number one, this might surprise you to hear, the Elite Series 3, which supposedly has a better connection, has feedback, and features adjustable triggers with haptic feedback for some games. The focus is on resistance. I mean, hey, we've all said for a while that's probably, the haptics was probably things that need to be in the controllers, period, because then more and more developers will actually use those functionalities.
Mm-hmm.
As long as people don't try to use like gyro controls. Another controller supposedly features an LED status bar in the controller, a better Bluetooth connection for PC and console, and direct connection with xCloud. Okay, cool. And then codename Sebel for controller 3. Supposedly is a controller full haptics, but it also comes with additional vibration that can alert players for issues like bad connection and bad latency. Also has a dedicated button to alter between Bluetooth and cloud options, but only works at specific moments, ? I would say that, the Elite 3 we've all known is going to happen eventually.
Yeah.
Just kind of interesting that they're raising the price on the Elite 2 if the Elite 3 is supposedly on the way. That feels really bad, actually. I would just eat the loss on that one, honestly.
Yeah.
And then that third one, I feel like you're going to merge 2 and 3 into one.
Yeah.
There's no way you release a basic controller and it doesn't have haptics at this point.
Yeah, I don't understand why you wouldn't do that. It would cut down on production costs and minimizing parts that you purchase, right? I mean,
that could influence, but from everything we've heard from manufacturers and from like tech companies, they don't want to shift their plans for things like this, like long-term vision, because of how volatile he's been with moving all these tariffs around and everything. And like one day they're on, the next day they're not, this and that. And like, they're kind of like just playing the waiting game of like, okay, well, we got to plan for the immediate future. What is it going to look like in like 3 years?
Right.
Which is why they're so hesitant to move a lot of their factories, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So, interested to see what controllers happen.
This is just, it's not to keep talking about this dumb political shit, but like these companies are just going to have to like try to wait it out for
that's what a lot of them are doing. I talked to people who work at an old electronics distribution company that I used to work at, and they're like, yeah, our customers are like just kind of continuing business as usual. Like they may be doing smaller orders, but they're just kind of trotting along right now because they don't know what else to do.
Right. What can you do? I mean,
Well, because like we sold to a lot of prototypers, like big companies that were prototyping things.
mhm.
They're like, yeah, like maybe there's like a year where Apple skips a new phone or something just to try and get around some of this.
I mean, they should do that anyway because
Yeah, I mean, unlikely for the world's richest company, but
I know.
it's always the smaller ones that pay the price. What do we got next? Trying to see what I want to do. GTA 6. GTA 6 officially pushed to next year, May 26th. 2026 is when this bad boy is going to release. Man.
I guess Strauss Zelnick was not very confident that would release this fall. Even when
no, the story that we got from Jason Schreier essentially says as much.
Mhm.
Jason Schreier came out and said, nobody I've talked to at Rockstar believed fall 2025 was a real window for a very long time now. Too much work, not enough time, and what appears to be a real desire from management to avoid brutal crunch. GTA slipping to 2026 has seemed inevitable for months, if not longer. He did say this back in January that he did not think it was going to happen.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I find that fascinating. Jason, of course, one of the best in the business, talking about this. He said that this being pushed is genuinely a very real desire to avoid crunch, and said that some Rockstar employees have told him that about regarding crunch. Skepticism is always healthy, but I've been keeping tabs on this for years since my big 2018 story about Red Dead Redemption 2's crunch. They certainly have eliminated all overtime, but everyone I've talked to at Rockstar says it's night and day from previous projects. And if that changes, I'll be the first to report on it. So that's huge.
Yeah.
That's huge because, man, there was a time where the crunch was so bad around Red Dead and around The Last of Us 2. I remember
all anybody was
for The Last of Us 2. Yeah. For like 3 or 4 years there, all we were talking about was crunch. I really think it was the COVID cycle that saved us from talking about crunch, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was
not that it's gotten drastically better at a lot of these studios, but to see that Rockstar is taking a pretty significant step towards this is huge.
Yeah. I mean, we're talking about layoffs and stuff now, which is arguably worse.
It's way worse. It's significantly worse.
Yikes.
So, yeah, man, how many companies sighed in relief hearing this news?
Enough so where companies started announcing release dates.
Sure, almost immediately we started getting release dates.
Specifically first party.
Yeah, I expect to see a cavalcade of Nintendo release dates in the coming weeks.
You know when I actually suspected this, Josh, is when Bungie announced announced the release date for Marathon, and then Borderlands 4 moved their release date up, and then PlayStation announced Ghost of Tsushima was coming out, October 10th or something?
October 2nd.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, GTA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I would assume that Sony, out of everybody, would probably know first.
So Sony has the marketing for this game,
so
because it was plastered all over that trailer, captured on PS5.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Sony has the marketing. Not a huge surprise. They've long had a relationship with with Rockstar.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the only game I can remember that they made in the last 15 years that didn't have PlayStation marketing was GTA 4.
Yeah, but they ended up bundling it at some point.
Yeah.
I mean that marketing probably, obviously that contract ran out at some point, but
I mean, I think it's fair to say that they both have pretty significant marketing deals. How many times has GTA had promotions and like come to Game Pass and like had free stuff and this and that? It's just, and like Red Dead's been a mainstay. I just feel like I feel like at the end of the 360 era, like, well, not the end, but like when Red Dead came out on the 360, that was the place to play it.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think a lot of third parties were just kind of fed up with how the cell processor was, handling their games, right? I mean, that's why a lot of games were delayed on the PlayStation.
Sure. So definitely something worth keeping an eye on. I think my attention immediately snapped to May because I've seen was a developer from Marathon that was talking about this the other day. He's like, I can't imagine being a company and releasing anything between like April and July of next year. It's like, it's just going to be a complete nuke going off for the industry, which is like great. But at the same time, you're like, what the fuck, man? If you were playing a game like, my immediate thoughts went to two games. They went to Gears E-Day and it went to Fable.
Mm-hmm.
Fable, I think, once they announced the delay, I think you and I both went, this is probably going to be positioned as a late summer, early fall game next year, because they're going to want to have that special direct after the main showcase next summer.
I would say late August, early September.
Yep, I think they're going to go for the traditional Fable release, which is mid-September.
Mm-hmm.
That would be my personal guess, and then that lines you up for an awesome holiday. If I personally don't think, because of the current manufacturing situations, I don't believe that the next Xbox is going to come out next fall. Now, I do think that's going to be a spring 27 thing now. But that will start the journey to the next Xbox, as far as I'm concerned. That and like E-Day are kind of like two of the last like significant franchise titles you're gonna get.
Yeah, I
think.
Who do you think is going to announce their next gen console first? You think it's going to be Xbox?
Xbox. It's going to be Xbox.
Sony
has no need to.
Yeah, I mean they have to, right? I mean
they have to, and it has to be a hybrid at this point. It just has to.
Like a PC hybrid or like a handheld hybrid?
Yes, both.
Yes,
I think the home console has to be basically what the Steam box was supposed to be, and I think the handheld has to essentially be a Steam Deck.
Yeah,
we've heard rumors about them outsourcing the production of hardware to Asus. We've heard about it rumored for Asus and for a few others that they're going to let other companies just make their own like branded Xbox hardware. I don't really love that. Part of the magic to me has always been like, an actual Xbox. I also really like my special edition consoles, but it does seem like if you're gonna do
a Doritos special edition because Frito-Lay made it.
I don't know exactly what you're going to do about this next console. Like, we know that it's been feature approved, it's been spec approved, that has gone all the way up the chain. Sony has also reached that milestone at this point. So for me, Microsoft reached it a couple months earlier, I think. I think we were talking about this like shortly after Christmas, and then Sony just did it in the last week or two.
Yeah.
The belief in the industry seems to be that they're both going to launch consoles by fall 27. I personally don't know if the PS5 is going to if the PS6 will make it out in fall 27. I think that may be a 28 thing. Just because they are leading the market so significantly right now without having like an insane amount of games coming out every like couple months.
Right. And they just released the Pro, like,
yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, for me, releasing the Pro kind of signifies you think you're about halfway through the cycle, as far as I'm concerned, which, I mean, that would put you at 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, 27, 28 is not too far off, honestly. Kind of keep forgetting we're already almost halfway through 25.
Jeez, yeah, I know. This year has gone by so fast. I have like...
Yeah.
Dude, it was January and now it's May. Like, what?
I think that you are going to see the traditional console generations are just gone. I think they're over now. Nintendo kind of started this with the Wii U, as far as I'm concerned, but now it's just you can't do it. Like, tech is evolving so rapidly that generations just don't matter anymore.
Yeah.
I do think the next consoles probably need to be upgradable to some degree. They're gonna be mini PCs. Like, you're gonna have to be able to upgrade things. You can already swap out your hard drive in PS5s, which is one of the biggest sins of the Series X, as far as I have ever been concerned. Not being able to do that on the Windows machine is pathetic. It's bad. It's real bad. But the biggest hurdle that they have, and this is a great transition, the biggest hurdle they have is figuring out how on earth are you going to keep those games going forward with you. So, to that end, Xbox is currently hiring a principal software engineer to join the Xbox platform team, focusing on emulating legacy titles for modern hardware. This just came out like within the last day. Jason Ronald was tweeting about this. some of the things you'll be doing: secure the future of game preservation, building scalable emulation solutions, defining and implementing Xbox backwards compatibility game security system to protect assets while improving the experience, technology solutions developed to emulate legacy games on modern platforms, and enable system level emulation across the catalog of Xbox content.
You know what this tells me, to get a little bit technical. I've actually been learning a little bit about this at work, believe it or not. So obviously Microsoft and PlayStation specifically have been running on the x86 architecture for a long time now. PS4 and then back to the Xbox 360 essentially, right? And even the original Xbox. But like that architecture is so old at this point that, like, you know how we always talk about spaghetti code with Destiny and long ongoing games, like they're looking into new solutions for long-term scalability, right? And that architecture, as freeing as it is, they are looking at like ARM architecture. They're looking at, investing in their own architecture the way that Apple does. Like they're looking into all of this. And so, like, I mean, it's why a lot of games on Xbox Series X and PS5 still run at 30 frames a second. It's because to ensure backwards compatibility, they have to use the same architecture, even though some of it's more powerful. And so, like, this emulation seems like we want to move off this architecture, but we need to make sure obviously backwards compatibility is a huge deal, right? For Xbox gamers specifically, and the way that Game Pass works on consoles. So, that's kind of what this is pointing at for me, at least. So,
yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan. I'm really, really interested to see how this hybrid solution works out, because this pretty clearly is in preparation for trying to get players' digital libraries to be able to work on PC also. And we know that they are already working on navigating that in just incredible issue of rights and digital licensing. So that they've said that that's why they stopped the backwards compatibility program as it was. They had added everything they legally could, like, unless old publishers or whoever owns these rights give them license to do more of these, they simply can't. So I am interested to see how that goes. I think that I speak for everyone when I say, well, if I bought something, I want to be able to play it, obviously, if I bought something digitally. And I would say the saving grace is that the 360 didn't do a ton of digital sales beyond like Xbox Live Arcade.
Right.
Like, until you were in like the late generation, and at this point, like, you've probably gotten a remake of that game at this point. Or it's a Microsoft produced title and they can just put it on there.
Yeah.
So
first digital game, Josh, what was your first digital game that was not just XBLA?
Oh God, that's not XBLA. Titanfall?
Oh, really? Was that late?
I was not a believer in digital games until the Xbox One. And even then it took me some convincing. I really held out on buying digital games. I did not like the idea. I've always been a physical media guy. Probably partway, unless it was like a super sale, I didn't like doing it. Midway through the Xbox One, I started changing my mind a bit. And now I'm almost completely digital on Xbox, at least.
Yeah.
With Switch, we still buy physically so we can swap the game cart back and forth.
But what about virtual game cards, Josh?
I'm not doing that shit. I also just really like having my games on my shelf.
No, I know. That's why I have a lot of physical games still, because I just like them on my shelf, even if I own them digitally still too. My first digital game, Josh, Assassin's Creed. The first one.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never wanted to link I'm a few years younger than you, so like I was in high school with the original when the 360 came out. And when I first went to college, I wasn't playing a lot of games. So, because I was going to school and I was working 2 jobs, so I wasn't playing a lot of games. In fact, I was playing so little games that I didn't play Halo Reach for like 7-8 months after it came out.
Dang.
Yeah, and I'm a Halo fanatic. So I was kind of like at the point in my life where I was like, maybe I shouldn't be playing video games. And then I said, fuck that, and went back to video games and had a blast.
I feel like everyone goes through that phase in like late high school, early college.
There's a big black hole between like early 2010 and like 2013 where I think the only things I played were Call of Duty and Battlefield.
Yeah, that hole for me is like 2003 to 2006.
Whoa, what a time to miss out.
You know, ironically, the game that brought me back to games was Gears of War.
Gears of War, yeah.
I was like, because I saw some kids on my floor in college where I had bought a 360 and gear, or they got it for like, I don't know, some holiday. And I was like, what is this? And they're like, this is the Xbox 360. This game's called Gears of War. And I was like, oh my gosh, Chainsaw Lancer, I'm in. I mean, I was still playing games, right? Like, I mean, I was playing Madden and I was playing like, God of War and Kingdom Hearts and stuff, but not like, I wasn't like trying to go out and collect every single game, but yeah, man, Gears. What a game.
Gears, man, Gears.
What a time. And then I got Oblivion and I got found the collector's edition at GameStop with the coin in it. Good times.
We have a little bit more Gears news that has slightly come out. That in the About Us section of the People Can Fly website for investors, they explicitly confirmed they are working on Gears E-Day.
Yeah, I saw that.
That is what Project Maverick is, as a matter of fact. So, again, nice to have that officially confirmed. I know it was definitely rumored. Love hearing that. People Can Fly has gone through a lot of layoffs over the years. So, really hoping
projects in the works right now.
Man, and I don't know how. They've laid off so many fucking people.
One of them's rumored to be an Outriders sequel.
It's the game nobody wants.
I mean, I do. I loved Outriders. It was awesome.
You can fucking have it.
I will take one.
I played maybe like the first 6 or 7 hours of that game and then said, nah, I'm good. I'm done.
Yeah, that game was awesome.
I would play another Division before that.
Oh, man. They confirmed in some sort of recent financial something that they have 6 projects in the works.
Oh, God.
Including an unannounced third-person shooter for Square Enix. Wonder what that could be, huh?
God, I hope it's something Final Fantasy related for their sake.
Dirge of Cerberus? You think they're making the Dirge of Cerberus?
Dude, that would be more profitable than anything else they could possibly make for Square Enix right now.
I'm pretty sure people would eat that up.
Yeah, so right now they have in the works, they have Project Gemini, which is slated for next year. That's the Square Enix game. They have Gears E-Day that they're working on. They have a game called Lost Rift that they're making. They are making 2 games for themselves, Project Bifrost and Project Bison, which is a VR game. Project Echo, which is being made for Krafton. And then Project Delta, which is being made in conjunction with Sony. It's a game based off an existing Sony IP.
Right. I
gotta think that they're helping with like the Horizon MMO or something.
Maybe.
But like Krafton, I'm just like, what are you making for them?
Man, out of everything that Sony owns, like for them, man, I feel like SOCOM or Resistance would be the 2 games that they could be working on.
Yeah, but you got to figure that their main team is probably working on both the Square Enix game and on E-Day, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know how many more people you can have on teams. I feel like that's just another support project that they're doing. Yeah. Like we know the Horizon MMO is not being made in-house by Sony.
Right.
It's being made by somebody else. I could see them maybe like helping with the combat on that or something. Kind of like how Certain Affinity was for a while with Halo. Mm-hmm. And then they just got the gig to do it permanently.
They're like, yeah, we're taking over. You guys suck.
But I had a friend the other day saying on Twitter, being like, man, with the success that Xbox games are having on PlayStation, I really wonder if 343 ends up like talking with Sony about like helping revive Halo, and I had to just very gently tell him in his DMs like, brother, 343 is dead, and also over Phil Spencer's dead body would that conversation ever take place. Like that is the thing he will cling to until the end. Like, yeah, they'll release it on PlayStation, but Sony is never going to get a say in how Halo and Gears are made. I'm sorry. Like, it's not happening. You have a better chance of Satya Nadella buying out Nintendo tomorrow than that happening.
They tried to do that once.
I know. Phil said it would have been the achievement of his career if he was able to do it, which I find absolutely hysterical.
Yeah, well, they did it before the original Xbox came out.
Oh, I know. They've tried it a couple times over the years.
Miyamoto just threw Pikmin at him. Shoot.
In some upcoming Xbox showcase news that we could potentially be seeing. Oh, excuse me. I'm very, very sick. My nose is running. It's clear. I don't have any tissues in my office though, unfortunately. So, the new Activision studio that was announced last year, Elsewhere Entertainment. They were announced last year, and their logo was recently updated over on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, the place to find game leaks.
Great. Unironically, yes. An amazing place to find some game leaks.
Yeah.
They are located primarily in Sweden and Poland with industry vets from Techland, CD Projekt Red, Ubisoft Massive, and IOI. And they are officially making a AAA genre-defining franchise with a heavy focus on story, supposedly. So I'm interested. I hope this is a new IP. I really, 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 really do not want this to be based on an existing Activision IP. Unless you're going to give me like a third-person action-adventure game set in like the Diablo universe or something.
StarCraft Ghost confirmed.
Oh my, dude, listen. If we ever get StarCraft Ghost, that'll just be like the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I'm just saying, there's a lot of shooter studios in there.
That's true. That's true. I genuinely do hope that this is not another shooter. That's the last thing Xbox needs is more shooters. I also don't think they need more like fantasy RPGs. So I find this just hilarious.
Yeah.
If this is a new franchise, though, genuinely hope they're allowed to take their time. Perhaps we could get a CG trailer at the showcase this summer. They're going to have to tease some stuff that's off in the future. I think we pretty much already know the games that we're going to see gameplay from. We've gone over that list ad nauseum. I'm not going to do it again.
What games are we going to see, Josh?
Go back and listen to like the last 3 episodes. Get ready and listen to the episode that we're going to do in like 2 weeks.
Oh man,
because we are officially less than a month away from the showcase. We are exactly 1 month away, actually.
Dude,
we are exactly 1 month away.
This year is going by so fast.
We will have 2 more shows before that day. We'll have a show on the posting on the 23rd and one posting on June the 6th. So yeah, that's gonna be such a busy week. Such a busy week.
Yeah.
Switch 2, Summer Game Fest, Xbox Showcase. Jesus Christ.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. Supposedly this game has been in the works for a little while. If you kind of like poked at some of the employees, apparently you could see they've been at this studio for a while before it was officially announced. I wonder if part of this was originally there were listings for Infinity Ward a couple years ago for a studio in Poland, and they were going to be working on something that was not Call of Duty. I wonder if this is part of that team that was being hired. That was supposedly a fantasy game. Wonder if this could be part of it.
Yeah, I imagine it could.
I'd like to see. We've heard a lot. Microsoft has like really poked around in Poland a lot over the last several years. Going back to those leaks, though, at one point people thought that Techland was going to be the next studio bought. I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
There was talk about them buying Techland. There was talk about IOI. Like they were actually pretty advanced on trying to see if they could buy IOI at one point.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if IOI is still making that Project Dragon that was rumored. I doubt it because they're full in on James Bond now. But God,
yeah, but they have that second studio now, though, right?
They do have the Barcelona studio. That was the one that was rumored to be doing it.
Yeah.
I'm curious.
And the James Bond game is the main Hitman studio.
I need to see gameplay from that this year.
I mean,
it being mentioned at the Switch 2 event is a big step.
What a strange place.
Is that still like the most like what the fuck thing that happened for you at that?
Yeah, I'm just like
it's been like a month and I'm still like, what the fuck was that about? This is gonna be no offense, this is gonna be the worst place to play this fucking game. Like far and away gonna be the worst place to play it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about that. It's just like this is like the weirdest place to like re-reveal this game, and it was still like not anything.
My money would have seriously been on it was going to be at the Xbox show.
It still might be there.
It might. I actually wonder if it's going to be one of the main things at Keeley's.
Oh yeah, yeah. That probably makes more sense there, huh?
That would be my guess. Since it was revealed at a Nintendo event, they're not going to keep all their footage to just a Nintendo show.
Yeah.
For a James Bond game. No offense to Nintendo. They're going to want this game front and center everywhere after the reception that Hitman 2 and 3 got.
Yeah, especially after Amazon has kind of taken over that franchise, right?
God, I forgot about that too.
Are they ever going to cast a James Bond? Come on. Chop chop.
I don't know. I don't know if I want them to at this point.
Yeah.
Where do I want to go next? Rumor, Activision may be locking certain game modes behind the Battle Pass for Call of Duty 2025 and beyond. Tell me if that doesn't make your skin crawl a little bit.
It's does something.
It's not great. It's absolutely not great. Oh boy, I hate it.
Sometimes I hear things and I'm just like,
you hear things and you're just like
why?
Why do you do this? Yeah, Tom Henderson over at Insider Gaming reporting this, which interesting. We have two conflicting reports from Call of Duty leakers. Ghost of Hope, who claims that this is going to happen, and Charlie Intel, who claims this is not happening. But the rumor from Ghost of Hope is that the plan is to have more seasonal limited time modes, but instead of them being traditionally free to all players, some will now be locked behind the Battle Pass, which means some LTMs will now be paywalled, with players only being able to access them by spending $20 to $30 on a Battle Pass.
Great. On top of the $80 you have to pay for the game.
Exactly. Goes on to say higher valued skins and other bits of content can be part of the Battle Pass instead of premium event passes. That is a fucking choice if that happens.
Yeah, but the sad thing is like, we can sit here and say that all we want, but people are going to buy it, right? I mean, people are just going to buy it.
Yeah. And then I want to read the update from Charlie Intel. This is a very reliable Call of Duty source. I should say that they've been reliable for like a decade plus.
Yeah, they've been around forever. I mean, they have the yellow check mark on Twitter, in case you cared.
Yeah, that doesn't mean a ton, but it does mean enough.
It means they're willing to spend $1,000 a month.
Charlie Intel, they quoted the original thing. They reported on it, and then they quoted it and said, "Update, we've been told that the rumor below of Call of Duty putting limited time modes behind the Battle Pass is false. This will not be happening in Call of Duty 2025. That, of course, does not mean that this can't happen elsewhere, but it definitely could still be happening in the future." But yeah, I think that would just be absolute suicide if they did that. It's interesting because I'm actually glad that we're talking about Call of Duty right now. I had a link I wanted to read from Chris Dierig's Game Business newsletter that went out this afternoon that he was reporting on. Let me see if I can get back to the link. But he was talking about this, and it was a whole breakdown about did the Xbox Call of Duty Game Pass gamble actually pay off or not. Black Ops 6's player count was nearly 2.5 million times higher than the previous best, which was Modern Warfare 2 at 31.4 million players. In terms of Game Pass subscriptions, there was an obvious jump for Xbox. Microsoft said it was the launch day was the single biggest day for new Game Pass subs ever. Circana reported that Game Pass subscription spending, including Game Pass, grew 12% in fourth quarter 2024. Looking at console only, 47% of Call of Duty players in November played on an Xbox system. In November 2023, the player base was just 35%. And the year before that, 2022, 44% was on Call of Duty in November. It may not seem like a big jump, but it's worth noting how big PlayStation's control of the console market is today compared with 2 years ago. At the end of 2022 in the US, PlayStation's active console base was 6 million higher than Xbox's. By the end of 24, the gap had increased to 10 million. If Call of Duty had not gone into Game Pass, we likely would have seen Xbox's market share on the franchise fall even further. Call of Duty franchise has seen its users decline after the Black Ops 6 launch more sharply than in recent years. Some of that is probably attributed to Game Pass, as subscribers are more likely to try something than put it down if it's not for them. But the reality is, Call of Duty has struggled to engage players to the degree it has in the past. According to Ampere, I think that's how you for Ampere. In March 2025, Call of Duty had 20.6 million players. That's a huge number, but it's less than March 2024, which had 20.8 million, and well down on 2023, which saw 22.4 million players. Xbox's share of Call of Duty players has also gone down from 47% to 37% in March. And it has gone from being the number one platform for Call of Duty in November to matching PlayStation by March, both on 33.3% active players. But the share is still bigger than the year before, ultimately. Did putting Call of Duty into Game Pass pay off for Microsoft? That's all we really care about here, let's be honest. Well, that kind of depends. The Call of Duty team has not been able to capitalize on the record-breaking launch. To go from an all-time high to trending below previous years in terms of monthly players is disappointing to Activision, but the wider Xbox organization seems to have maintained the interest in Game Pass. The firm followed Black Ops 6 with a string of strong titles in the service, including but not limited to Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, Avowed, South of Midnight, Oblivion, and Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and looks set to continue this cadence with new titles in the Doom, Tony Hawk Pro Skater, Outer Worlds, and Gears of War franchises over the coming months. That is just absolutely bonkers.
You know what's great about a lot of these titles too? Is like they seem to release like one game that's like 8 to 12 hours long, and then they'll release a game that's like, I don't know, something like Oblivion that's like 40 to 80 to hundreds, depending on how you play those games, right? And like,
sure,
you can always balance two games at once within Game Pass. I've kind of noticed that trend over since Call of Duty.
I do think April was a little too much. They definitely needed to move something, one or two games into March, or move something else into May. Because let's be honest, releasing South of Midnight, Blueprints, and they did not know Blueprints was going to blow up the way it did. But South of Midnight, Blueprints, Oblivion, Expedition 33, and Towerborn in a 3-week span is insane.
Yeah, I also wonder if Clair Obscur, I wonder if that was something that they thought would be nice to have on Game Pass, but didn't know would blow up like it has either.
I think they knew it was going to, because remember, this got a lot of buzz coming out of the showcase, and it was the surprise of the showcase last year, and we were even like, man, is this like our favorite game of the show?
I just downloaded it yesterday. I'm like itching to play it this weekend.
Oh, we're gonna talk about it here. We're almost done with the news. We're talking about this in my What Have I Been Playing, because it's captivated me completely, to the point that I'm not even touching Oblivion, one of my favorite games ever made. But then remember, they featured it in the Developer Direct this year.
Right.
That was when I think it went to like widespread recognition.
Yeah.
Because people were like, oh my God, this game looks amazing. They did press previews shortly after, and every single preview I saw was like, this is going to be a must-play game for everybody.
Yeah.
And it has now sold 2 million copies in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The soundtrack for that game topped the Billboard classical charts. It's wild. I saw a lot of people getting upset about this, about the fact that it and Oblivion came out in the same week, that Microsoft should have moved Oblivion. I don't disagree. I do not disagree at all on that. In fact, I actually tend to agree with that, just not as voraciously as others.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that probably could have been moved to March, if we're being honest. Put it out on the anniversary of Oblivion.
Right.
But the Expedition 33 game director came out when he started seeing stories about it, because people were tagging him in it. And he's like, no, I don't want any of this talk. He was like, that game coming out the same week as our game drew attention to RPGs and to Game Pass. People played our game because of this.
Yeah.
So
plus, like, a good word of mouth. Like, I feel like
incredible word of mouth.
I feel like more people are like, I'm going to wait on Oblivion so I can play this.
Yep.
I feel like that's the story.
Mm-hmm. A lot of us. Like, I'm one of them.
Yeah. And, dude, I mean, and you've said it multiple times, like, Oblivion's like your favorite game of all time.
Yeah, it's very, very high up there, like on my favorite RPGs ever made. It's boom, there you go. So,
can I just say, congratulations, Sandfall, for making this amazing.
Oh my god,
game.
incredible debut game.
Just, I just want to
just absolutely phenomenal game. Xbox has had is the number one platform for the game, unsurprisingly. It is also the worst for average playtime.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. That's
as of a couple days ago. Yeah. Well,
that's a Game Pass thing.
It's a Game Pass thing. Yeah. But I think the discoverability has absolutely helped. So
yeah. Plus, like, the people that do love it, like, obviously it's sold almost 2.5 million copies on other platforms too. So
yeah. It's pretty crazy. So big fan of that. I got one or two other stories for us here. We do have to talk about these, unfortunately.
Oh boy.
Respawn's canceled game. This got announced last week. Was an extraction shooter set in the Titanfall universe. 300 to 400 jobs have been lost at EA, and at least 100 of those were at Respawn. So, from everything that we understand, this was not close to being released. Yeah, I don't.
Doesn't Apex have an extraction mode in it?
No idea at this point, honestly. They did say that they're using this to restructure the teams to support Apex and Jedi 3 more, as well as Zero Company, which just got announced.
Yeah, I mean, look, I know that we complain about or talk about like licensing fees and stuff, but like, I mean, Star Wars is going to sell no matter what, right? No matter how popular or unpopular it is at any point. I feel like.
Yeah, there is a response from a potential employee in the comments of this for a post on the Leaks and Rumors subreddit, saying the company is dealing with a ton of mismanagement. Higher-ups been quietly getting fired for helping friends embezzle, or they themselves from the company, or due to opening up new locations to when they can't even fill the ones they already have. They go into a discussion about how they have so many buildings in Chatsworth out in Los Angeles, and just their unused buildings. Essentially, they opened up a studio in Wisconsin and then closed it. A lot of the people who made these decisions are gone now, and as bad as layoffs are, a ton of them are deserved. You have employees who are getting away with working less than 2 hours a day or even at all, and executives are just as guilty. I don't know if I believe in that, but okay. This next paragraph does make a little bit of sense to me. They have a lot of higher-ups who don't like playing games and just follow trends. When the Titanfall extraction shooter was announced, workers were begging to do something different, but higher-ups wanted to follow the money years after the fact, and now it's gone. The playtest leader also had no interest in the tactical Star Wars game. Yeah, I don't...
Looks awesome, by the way. Zero Company looks awesome.
Zero Company looks fantastic. So, I don't know. I don't know how much of this I believe, honestly. I just thought it was interesting. I also love the people who are always like, if you would just make Titanfall 3, it would be a huge success. You motherfuckers didn't show up for the first two.
Yeah.
Do I need to remind you what you guys decided to spend your money on when Titanfall 2 came out? You decided that Battlefield set in 1914 with horses was a better use of your money, and you decided that Battlefield 2 or Battlefront 2 with its gigantic loot box controversy was better to spend money on.
Every time somebody
those games.
every time somebody now says they want a game, right? I always think of Mirror's Edge at this point.
Yep.
You know, like how much of the internet did you hear or like see say, "Oh, we need a sequel to Mirror's Edge. I want to meet sequel," and they finally made like, and I don't know the quality of that game or not.
It's not good. It's
right?
not good.
But like they made one and nobody bought it, right? So it's like,
yeah,
you know.
Whereas like Titanfall 2 has one of the best FPS campaigns of all time. Y'all did not play it. Most of you are playing it when it's $4. Like, we cannot take you at your word that you're actually going to pay $70 for this game when it comes out. I'm sorry. Like, I would not believe anybody at this point if they say they're going to spend $70 on that game.
Yeah,
and that's coming from somebody who I was skipping college classes to play the Titanfall 1 alpha, dude.
Dude, like, I played Titanfall 1 on Xbox 360, and I was obsessed with it.
I bought an Xbox One at launch primarily for me and Chelsea just to be able to play that game. That was an awesome one more thing when they announced it. And then when it came out, we were like, oh shit, that was really it.
Yeah.
It was such a cool game, but it was more like a cool like proof of concept. If that game had come out like a year and a half later, it would have been incredible.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of like the one more thing curse, I think, for Xbox. Because how many of those have they had that have come out broken or just unfulfilling in the future?
I don't know. Redfall is pretty good.
God, Redfall, Anthem was one. Cyberpunk was one.
Yeah. To be fair, though, Anthem looked awesome.
Halo Infinite. I'm still a Halo Infinite defender, but I mean, those are all games that have been one more thing.
Yeah.
At Xbox shows in the last, 10 to 12 years. So,
yeah. I mean, they've been hit with a lot of like
Gears 4 might be the one that actually stuck the landing.
Yeah, but I feel like there's a lot of revisionist history on these sequel games now, though, too. Like, nobody likes them now, apparently. Everybody's happy.
I love Gears 4. I love Gears
dude, 4. I like 4 and 5.
5 I was less keen on, and I played 5 right after. I did not play 4 at launch. I played 5 right after 4, and I was like, oh, I don't like this. I didn't dislike it, but I certainly didn't like it. 4 I liked because 4 was much more horror.
Mm-hmm.
Which I really enjoy. That's something that I love about like Gears 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt very Gears 2 to me in a lot of ways. So
yeah, like when you go into the underground.
Oh yeah, it's great. It's fucking great. And then when you're like fighting your way through the old cog base, yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that's cool.
But anyways, yeah, Respawn has supposed to cancel. It was 2 games that they canceled. One of them I am led to think was a Star Wars game. There was a rumor that they were working on 2 of them. They were working on an FPS and on a tactical shooter. Between you and me, I'm kind of glad we're getting the tactical shooter instead.
Mm-hmm.
And man, thank God Jedi 3 was not impacted because that game needs to stick the landing. If it sticks the landing, it's one of the great gaming trilogies.
Dude, I love that second game so much.
Survivor is maybe it's the best Star Wars game ever made, not called Knights of the Republic. And even that, if you didn't play that like when it was in its prime, you may not think it's all that great either.
Yeah, I would argue. I mean, you could go either way, and I wouldn't be mad.
I still think KOTOR is better because that story is so endearing.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that like, and I'm not going to say that like Cal Kestis has people latching onto him the way that Darth Revan did.
No, but that story, like the emotion in that second game was so strong and so
Cal and Marin forever. That's all I'm going to say.
Marin.
I have a Marin action figure on order. I'm not even kidding. They announced a Black Series figure of her at Celebration Japan, and that's definitely like the last Black Series I'm ever buying. But I have it ordered. Oh, man. I was so excited. I bought it before it went up in price.
I love Marin so much.
Marin, truly one of my favorite video game characters of the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Well, we have one more piece of news we got to get to that's not particularly great. 2 places that we love got hit with layoffs this past week, and it's bad for games media. First is Polygon. Polygon was sold off to Valnet and was hit with a lot of layoffs. Among them, I believe their EIC got fired, and Nicole Carpenter, I've read a lot of her stuff over the years. She got laid off as well. But Valnet, if you don't know, owns like Screen Rant, Game Rant, etc.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been sold off, and the one that stings a lot more,
Yeah.
Giant Bomb.
I would argue that that is the one place. I mean, to be fair, since like, you know, the crew that runs Nextlander and Jeff Gersman all left, like it's been kind of a shell of its former self, but like still a lot of great content coming out of there. But man, I would argue Giant Bomb is the reason why a lot of us even thought about doing this in the first place, right? I mean,
Yeah.
especially like the older gamers that wanted to try to do this at some point. Like they were the OG. You think of what you see in a Let's Play, that was Giant Bomb, like before YouTube was even a thing, you know?
It was like them and Achievement Hunter.
Yeah. Just, oh my gosh, it's so sad.
It's not great. We do know that two of the people affected are Dan Reichert and Jeff Grubb. Those are the two that I have seen, at least. I don't know how many other people have been laid off at this point.
Yeah, Jan's still there, which he's been their longtime producer, and then
Yeah.
I think he just took over as host when Jeff left. Man, I don't even know who else is still there. Yeah, I mean it's crazy. It's that when I heard Giant Bomb, I'm like, man. I mean, I knew it was kind of they've been sold like 4 times in the last 4 years. So.
Yeah, I mean, fandom getting a hold of them was kind of like the nail in the coffin, right?
Yeah.
But I'll put it this way: Dan Reichert did a stream and said, "Giant Bomb's essentially dead. Fandom wanted to convert the site into guides-only content. An executive once asked him if Grand Theft Auto has a large player base. Dan dared fandom to fire him and will not show up to meetings going forward. And some of the Giant Bomb crew is probably going to stay at GameSpot. I would say like Timur probably will still be over there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. That's
what the fuck, man? Just like what the fuck?
Yeah, this is.
Oh, Mike Minotti has also said he will not be a part of it.
Yeah, I knew that. I saw that too.
Yeah.
I mean, Grubb has Game Mess, obviously, and he'll be picked up by someone if he wants to.
Oh, 100%. He's 100%.
You know, and Dan Reichert's been doing this long enough to where he could either do something on his own or, you know, I know his wife is in the industry and like, you know, he'll get a job somewhere, whether it's gaming or wrestling or something.
Yeah. I think Dan had a take on this that I think a lot of us can agree with. And he says, getting a job in games media seemed almost unattainable when I broke in back in 2005. In the years since, it's become almost impossible and ultimately inadvisable. I can't imagine trying to break in today. Independent is pretty much the only option now. Support your favorite creators directly. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I have to agree with that. How many people do we respect that have gone independent? Like, there's only a couple big outlets left because everybody buys everyone else up.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about consolidation at this point, right? Like, and games aren't what they used to be. I mean, even look at IGN, right? I mean, they only have a handful of full-time employees now. Most of them are freelance or like part-time, or I mean, you have McCaffrey, you have Miranda Sanchez, right?
And you have Brian Altano.
Yeah, and I think Max Damon is still there, right?
Damon is still there.
Yep. Yeah, Damon and the GameScoop crew, essentially, right? But like they have what, like a dozen full-time employees, like front-facing employees, and then like I guess you would have to have engineers and producers and stuff. But
yeah, a lot of people are like permanent freelancers or like they write for a couple different places,
right?
But like, they have their own, and then they do stuff for them. Like that's just where they're published at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but like they also like did that whole buyout thing last year. You know, like
and I mean, this is after they bought up Eurogamer. They bought up VG247,
like
GamesIndustry.biz,
the Nintendo Life Push Square, that set of sites, right? They bought them. So yeah, and then they bought everybody out at the end of the year, you know, and I mean that's why Destin's
bought a lot of people out at the end of the year. I mean, they have like a lot of people down in down in LA doing TV and movie shit. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's not great.
Yeah. I mean, there's no, I don't know. They've become a guide and SEO farm essentially at this point too.
Yeah, it's rough over there. It's really rough over there. Like when I scroll through, like I don't recognize any of the names. In an ironic turn of fate, Game Informer might be one of the last bastions of actual gaming journalism.
You know,
when
putting out some good
when
stuff,
a month ago they didn't exist.
Yeah, they've been putting out some pretty good stuff.
That metaphor cover story, I am very excited to sit down and read that.
The cover story that never was. That's what it was.
Story that never was. Yeah, I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, good for them though, right? I mean, good.
Oh yeah,
good for them.
Very good for them. Very excited for that whole crew to be back together. At least one of them will be together for a while.
I wonder if Reichert would end up back there. That would be interesting. Because he's the one that kind of spun up their video content in the first place.
I don't think he's going to end up back there.
No, I don't either, but it would be interesting.
I'm gonna level with you. I think that he actually ends up becoming like a 5th or 6th chair on Kind of Funny. He's got such good relationships with all those guys that I fully would believe that they would hire him full time.
Yeah.
If they have the money to. I mean, they might not either. They're all they're all subscriber driven.
Yeah. Could they afford him? I mean, they probably could, right? I mean, they make enough money through Patreon and their ads.
I mean, so
deals and stuff.
Yeah, I would say because like they're only like super like face is Greg Miller.
Yeah.
Like I watch a lot of Andy Cortez's stuff, but I'm watching his streams when he's not on Kind of Funny. I'm watching him stream Souls games and stuff.
Yeah.
But he would. The thing is, it's like, then do you weigh? It's just basically like having Greg Miller 2.0 is the problem.
Yeah, could you imagine them doing a show together? Jesus
I can, and it would probably be their top watched show, honestly.
I'm sure it would. But man, the chaos.
It would be bringing another, because I mean, like the only two who were like really like journalists in that group, no offense to anybody else at Kind of Funny, the only two who were like really journalists were Greg and Blessing. That's it. And Blessing has been a hire over the last couple of years, you know. Well, I say last couple of years, God, like 6-7 years ago now.
Yeah.
But it was originally like Greg and Colin were the only two. And because Tim and Nick were always behind the scenes, they were always video guys.
Yeah.
So like when I think of like actual journalists, it's like those guys. Dan would definitely give them and they're like up in that department. I also can see like Grubb doing a lot with them.
Yeah.
Jeff Grubb has great relationships with those guys. He's been on their content a ton.
Yeah, I could see them trying to partner with Game Mess at some point.
I could. They don't like getting into like the rumors and stuff of it all. So yeah. I don't know that they would attach themselves to that as much necessarily, but I could see them giving him a platform.
Yeah.
Being like, hey, at least like you could be like affiliated with us or something.
Or like co-host Kind of Funny Games Daily, like 2 or 3 times a week or something.
Sure. With like Greg taking more of a role, like stepping out of that.
Yeah.
As of late. So there's a lot of things you can do there. There's definitely like, I wouldn't rule out Dan going back to Game Informer. The question is, can they afford him?
Right.
That becomes the question.
And, I mean, just to throw this out there, like, I mean, I know Jeff Gersman has been looking for like a second person to help him out with his stuff at some point. And I know Nextlander, they all have a great relationship with Dan, right? Just from being Giant Beastcast, essentially.
I mean, you could always see a new outlet spring up out of this.
Yeah. I mean,
the problem is I feel like a lot of journalism has shifted away from print. I think print journalism in gaming is practically dead at this point. Yeah. It's all, you said it best, right? It's all so SEO and like forum driven now that I think we saw the shift happen probably, God, I would say 2016, 2017 is when we started really seeing the pivot to video. Like the joke was everything was pivoting to video at that time, right? But like no industry was better suited for it than gaming. because you can show B-roll, you can show the game you're talking about, that you got to go demo where it's coming out, you can show the trailer while you're talking over it, this and that, and not just have to embed it. It was a whole new way of doing gaming journalism. It's just,
I mean, it's why things like G4 were so popular when it started, right?
sure,
and like,
sure,
and
just with like 100% less misogyny now, a little bit less racism.
I mean, yeah.
I think there's still room for it. Like, Dan nailed it, right? Like, going independent is about the only way you're going to do this. Like, that's about the only way you're going to break in. Like, that's why so many YouTubers and streamers and stuff have become so popular. Like, video essays have become so popular and such, and like podcasts have become popular. Like, you look at people who really just like pulled themselves up by their bootstraps. Like, Danny Pena is a huge inspiration to me. Danny's one of the OGs that's been doing it independently.
Yeah, I mean, Gamertag Radio is the OG Xbox.
Gamertag Radio is the OG podcast, as far as I'm concerned. It is still the best Xbox podcast that has ever existed and ever will exist. And Danny's been doing stuff freelance since the Xbox came out.
Yeah.
Like, he posts pictures all the time of him being at the very first preview event for it in New York City.
Yeah.
You know, walking around with his big ass recorder and microphone and whatnot. And that's so cool to me to see that, because it shows like journalism can take so many different avenues. Because I don't want any of my comments to be construed as, oh, well, you know, if you make video content or you stream or you podcast, you're not a real journalist. Like, no, that's not how it fucking works. It's just, when I think of like classically trained journalists, there's so few left in gaming these days.
Yeah.
There's like maybe like 15 to 20 I can think of off the top of my head, and we named like 7 of them are still at IGN.
Yeah.
Right? But how many other super talented journalists have lost their jobs in recent years and just have never found work in games again outside of freelance?
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, how many...
Well, I was kind of shocked that Chris Dierig went off to go do his own thing with game business.
I mean, that's the thing, too. If you go off to do your own thing, you better have a following, too, right? I mean,
well, and that's the thing. Like, the only person who even comes close to Chris's level on the business side of things is Jason, and Jason Schreier works for fucking Bloomberg. Right. So, like, yeah, that's why, like, when Bloomberg reports something, we pay attention, because you can't just publish shit.
Yeah.
You have to be able to back up those claims.
Yeah, it's not like, I mean, no offense to like something like Forbes or anything, but they have like a whole like user section, right? Like, a lot of stuff that comes out of there is like from user blogs or whatever, right?
I would argue like your credible person over there has increasingly become Paul Tassi, and Paul, it took years for Paul to get to that point. Paul was a Destiny YouTuber.
Yeah.
And now writes about like legit game news. So
yeah, and that's the thing too, is like people say content creators aren't real journalists either, right? But like,
fuck off.
You gotta, first of all, you gotta start somewhere, and then you gotta make contacts, and then you gotta be friendly with those contacts for them to even consider giving you juicy tidbits, right? Like, that's the game. You have to play the game, you know, and the game is getting much harder. So, yeah, it's like Souls mode out there.
It really is. And
games
say all this because, like, you know, we podcast and we do stuff for Boss Rush and whatnot, and this is like all out of our own free time. Like, we're not making a dime doing this.
Yeah,
we do this because we love doing it, and like that's how content creation is born, right? Like, you do it out of a genuine love for something. Like, I've always loved when like Greg and Dan and Jeff and people like and Danny that we like following like talk about it, because they're like, this is a privilege that we get to do that. And it really is. Like, it is a privilege you get to do that. That's like the dream. And like 0.0000001% of people who want to do that get to do it.
Right. I mean,
for a living, and actually support their family doing it. Like, we do this in our free time after the kids have gone to bed.
Yeah. And like, you know, I mean, Boss Rush does have a Patreon, but it's like, that Patreon literally like pays for our verification on social platforms that we need it on, and the website, and still paying out of pocket. So,
and here we are still going to PAX.
Yeah.
Just, we're not this week, but for reasons, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to be at PAX Prime in Seattle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of breaking my heart. Wizards emailing me to see if I could, if I wanted to have a an appointment. I was like, God damn it! Of course I want to. I want to come. I want to come talk about Magic and Dungeons and Dragons with the designers. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, I want those appointments, and well, I can't do it now.
Yeah,
Do you guys want to pay for? Do you guys want to pay for me to fly up there tomorrow? I'll do it.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not even like staying there. It's getting there.
Yeah. So, all right, let's wrap up. What have we been playing lately?
Oh boy. I mean, mine's real short. I've been playing a lot of stuff with my kids. My
How dare you? How dare you be a family man?
I know, it's awful. So I've been playing the Power Rangers fighting game with my son.
Okay.
Weird. It's
the one that came out last year?
No, the one that came out like 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, okay.
It's not very good, but my son my son's obsessed with Power Rangers, so anything that has Power Rangers on it, we have to play. I've been playing a little bit of Destiny. And then, like I said, I downloaded Expedition 33. I plan on playing that this weekend. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to catch up, Josh, because I've been playing catch up for so long. I don't even know. I don't know how much longer I can do this, Josh. You know, that's a joke, everybody. I'll be back next week.
Well, I've been playing a ton of Expedition 33.
Tell me about it, Josh.
Right now, through the first 4.5 months of the year, it is far and away the front runner for Game of the Year, as far as I'm concerned.
That's what I've been hearing.
I will say this with the caveat that I have not played Blueprints yet, but man, this is pretty much everything I've ever wanted in an RPG. It is a deeply moving story. It's an amazing cast, great voice acting, incredible combat that just it gets deeper and deeper the further you get into the game. There's just more and more layers to it. I love this game. I love exploring. I deliberately pick out side fights because I think they're just so fun. The parrying and blocking mechanics have become a ton of fun. The free aim is fascinating to me. Yeah, I love this game. I love it. I'm partway through Act 2 right now. I think I'm getting towards the end of Act 2. And I'm not ready for this journey to end. This is an awesome game. Somebody in our Discord has already 100%ed the game. Tiger Jesus, shout out, has already 1,000 out of 1,000 gamer score points on this game.
Jeez, dude.
Yeah. I was like, what the fuck, dude? How do you have the time for this?
What are you doing?
My God, no, it was like more out of jealousy.
I mean, yeah, fair, but like, dang.
Oh my God. Hats off to you, man. But I've been playing a lot of Expedition 33 when I've had free time. Obviously, I'm playing the new Destiny event. You guys can tune in to Tower Casuals next week to hear me talk about Rite of the Nine, which has been awesome to start out. Got my first of the 3 Ultimatum dungeons cleared last night with the gold scores.
Nice.
Very, very, very excited for the next 2. Of course, this was Spire of the Watcher. We still got Prophecy and Ghost of the Deep to go. And I've been playing Towerborn also, and I'm having a lot of fun with Towerborn. It is.
How is it?
Did you ever play Castle Crashers?
Yeah.
It's Castle Crashers. It's a better Castle Crashers. It's like if that game evolved. That's basically what it is.
Interesting.
There's a narrative to it and everything. I'm not too interested in a narrative yet, but I really, really, really like this game so far. It's been a lot of fun with friends.
I mean, that's good. I'm glad it turned out. I'm glad it turned out good because when it kept getting delayed, we were kind of worried about it.
I mean, it's still in early access. Don't get me wrong. It's still in early access, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think this game it's good. It's best enjoyed with friends. I tried playing it once solo, and I did not have nearly as much fun.
Yeah, I mean, I've
had a blast playing with friends, though.
Yeah, I mean, Castle Crashers for me was that way. Like,
oh yeah, Castle Crashers you could only play with your friends.
Yeah,
that was one of the OG Xbox Live Arcade games, as far as I'm concerned. I know it wasn't there with Geometry Wars, but as far as I'm concerned, it's still one of the classics.
No, it's definitely it's Geometry Wars and it's Braid are like the 3 that you think of, right? Like,
Yep.
Those are the 3 that I think of, at least. And Hexic HD, which was installed on the console when you bought it.
Oh, Hexic HD. I love Hexic HD. Can I just tell you that?
Tell me about it, Josh. How much do you love Hexic HD?
I love Hexic so much. It's so good.
Why doesn't that surprise me
It's
at all?
so dumb, but I love it. Listen, 12-year-old Josh was just very excited that he got a game for free.
I mean, I believe you. Now there's free-to-play games all over the place, Josh.
Yeah, now there's ones all over the place indeed. Yeah, God, there were so many good ones.
The Doritos Crash Course, that was free.
What were some of the other ones? They used to release some of the classic games on there. Do you remember Boom Boom Rocket?
Yeah.
Feeding Frenzy was one that I think about. Galaga Legends.
Not free, Josh.
Explosion Man, Shadow Complex. There's one for you.
Explosion Man was awesome. That was like there was like that weird renaissance of hardcore 2D platformers, right? Like
yeah.
Like, and then Miss Explosion Man came out later. Then they did that really racist motorcycle game. What was it called? Loco Cycle or whatever?
Oh God, Loco Cycle.
Josh, we'd be remiss though. Not free, but the Burger King games.
Oh my God, dude! Talk about the top games that if I find them, I'm going to buy them. I check my local stores like once or twice a month trying to find those, and I'm not even joking.
I mean,
if I find a full set, I'm buying them. I've already told Chelsea that like I'm going to buy these, and they're going to sit up on my desk.
Nothing like big bumping, am I right?
Oh, I'm gonna pull out the 360. I'm gonna make her play Sneak King with me.
Dude, Sneaking, no joke, was like an amazing stealth game.
Yeah, I love those games. I think that's forever one of just like the greatest advertising things you could have ever done.
Dude, and the funny thing is like the thing that made that game funny was the Burger King's just stagnant face.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh God, that was when they started doing the really creepy layout with that.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. Pocket Bite Racers was actually a pretty decent racing game.
Yeah.
$3.99 a piece.
All right, man. Get me out of here.
Yeah, it's time to go. I want to thank everybody out there for watching and or listening to this episode of Xbox Casuals. You can find us every other Friday on your podcast service of choice. Check out Tower Casuals, the Destiny podcast, our sister show, which alternates Fridays with this one. You can see Josh and I on multiple other things going on around this here podcast space. Also, a little bit of housekeeping. I have redone the website, everybody, the Tower Casuals website. That will also host all these episodes, so you can check that out if you want. It's just something I decided to do on a whim. So yeah, check it out. Like, subscribe, share, rate, and review wherever you listen or watch us. Thank you so much for watching and or listening, and until next time, we love you. Goodbye.